I found out my neighbor was an international spy. For years, I thought Mr. Langley was just another retired guy. You know the type. Quiet, polite, wore the same gray sweater no matter the season. He lived 2 doors down from me in a modest suburban neighborhood where the most exciting thing that ever happened was when someone's recycling bin blew over. Mr. Langley rarely spoke. He'd nod at you from across his lawn while trimming his perfect hedges or wave silently from the porch with a mug in hand. Never had visitors, never joined the neighborhood barbecues, just kept to himself, which honestly didn't seem strange. Lots of older folks liked their privacy, but everything changed the day his cat, Percy, got stuck in my tree. I heard meowing outside and found the poor thing clinging to a high branch. I called animal control, but they were backed up. Figuring I'd be neighborly, I grabbed a ladder and managed to rescue Percy. As I brought him to Mr. Langley's front door, something felt off. I knocked. No answer. The house looked dark, curtains drawn. Still, the front door creaked open slowly, unlocked. "Hello?" I called. No reply. I stepped inside, just far enough to call again. "Mr. Langley, your cat, he was stuck in my tree." Still nothing. I set Percy down, and he immediately trotted deeper into the house like he knew exactly where to go. That's when I heard it. A faint beep, followed by a low, mechanical hum. Now, I should have left. I know that. But curiosity tugged at me harder than common sense ever could. I followed the sound into what I thought would be a study, or maybe a basement door. Instead, I found a room behind a fake bookshelf. Inside were at least 10 computer monitors, each one displaying maps, satellite images, and scrolling code. On the far wall was a massive corkboard covered with photos, documents, string lines crisscrossing from one pinned item to the next, like something out of a spy thriller. Some of the photos were of world leaders. Others were neighbors, including me. My stomach flipped. Then I heard the front door slam. I panicked and hid behind a heavy curtain as footsteps echoed through the hallway. A shadow crossed the doorway. My breath hitched. "I know you're here," Mr. Langley's voice said calmly. "Come out." I stayed frozen. He sighed, and then the floor beneath me dropped, literally. I fell through a trap door into darkness. I hit the ground hard, wooden planks smacking my shoulder as I rolled into pitch black. The trap door slammed shut above me, cutting off what little light there had been. My pulse thundered in my ears. For a moment, all I could hear was my own ragged breathing. Then, a soft buzz flickered to life. Dim fluorescent lights snapped on overhead, revealing a narrow underground room lined with metal cabinets, crates, marked in various languages, and something that looked suspiciously like a weapons locker. I stumbled to my feet, my limbs aching but intact. I searched for a door, a ladder, anything, but the room was sealed tight. No way up, no way out, and no cell signal. I was trapped in a spy's bunker. A few minutes passed. Then a metal door I hadn't noticed before hissed open. Mr. Langley stepped inside, his gray sweater now replaced with a tactical vest. The calm, reserved old man I knew was gone. This man moved like a soldier, controlled, sharp. He didn't yell, he didn't threaten, he just said, "You shouldn't have seen that." I stammered something about Percy, about how I just wanted to return his cat, how I didn't mean to snoop. He nodded like he understood, but didn't let down his guard. "You're not hurt," he said plainly. "That's good. Sit down." I hesitated, then sank onto a metal bench as he paced slowly in front of me. "I've worked hard to maintain this cover," he said. "I was supposed to be invisible here, just a harmless old man. But you—" He paused. "You saw too much." I braced myself. I thought he might pull out a weapon or tie me up or start interrogating me. Instead, he sighed and sat across from me. "I'll be honest with you," he said. "I work for an international intelligence agency. Can't tell you which. Just know that I'm not the only one in this neighborhood keeping an eye on things." I blinked. "Wait, you mean there are others?" He ignored the question. "You tripped a security protocol. You triggered the failsafe when you stepped into that room. But I don't want to hurt you. In fact, I could use your help." I blinked again. "My help?" He nodded. "You're observant, brave. You reacted well under pressure. I've had my eye on you longer than you realize." I was speechless. Then he said something I'll never forget. "How would you like to become an asset?" And just like that, I realized I wasn't just trapped. I was being recruited. I stared at Mr. Langley, or whatever his real name was, trying to process what he'd just said. An asset? Me? This had to be some kind of elaborate prank, or maybe I'd hit my head harder than I thought. But something in his eyes told me he was dead serious. I'm not a spy, I muttered. No, he agreed. But you could be useful. People overlook you. You're curious, cautious, and more importantly, you're already involved. He wasn't wrong. I had just accidentally broken into a secret bunker, discovered weapons, and been locked in with a man who clearly operated on a different level than the rest of us. So, maybe this was happening. Maybe this was real. I have questions, I said cautiously. You'll get answers, he promised. But first, you need to decide. Walk away now, and I'll wipe the last hour from your memory. Not literally, but you'll leave with a very believable explanation. Or you can stay, and things get complicated. I should have walked away. I should have thanked him and gone back to my normal life. But instead, I heard myself say, "What kind of help are you talking about?" He smiled slightly. The kind that stays in the background. Surveillance, information gathering, quiet observation. We have someone new in the neighborhood. Someone we believe is connected to a larger operation. You'd be our eyes. Wait, I said, sitting forward. Are you saying another spy moved in? Possibly worse, he said. We don't know who they're working for yet. My heart was pounding again, but now, it wasn't from fear. It was exciting. Danger, yes, but also purpose. Suddenly, this sleepy neighborhood felt like the center of something much bigger. He stood and pulled a drawer open, taking out a small black case. Inside was a sleek earpiece, a pen that didn't look like a pen, and what looked like a key fob. "These are yours," he said. "Training starts now. And don't worry, we'll keep you safe." I took the gear hesitantly, fingers brushing over the cold plastic. I felt like I was stepping into a movie, but this wasn't fiction. This was real life. And I was about to become part of something no one in their right mind would believe. Langley led me up a hidden staircase that exited through what looked like a garden shed. As the fresh air hit my face, I realized my life had changed forever. By the next morning, I felt like I had woken up in a different life. The training began before sunrise. Langley wasn't kidding. He had plans. We started with observation drills. He taught me how to identify patterns. Who leaves their house at the same time every day? Who looks over their shoulder too often? Who picks up their mail with gloves even when it's warm outside? But all of that led to one person. Apartment 9. The new tenant was a man in his late 30s. Clean-cut, well-dressed, but too clean. Langley had a term for it. Deliberate casual. His groceries were always fresh, but we never saw him cook. His curtains were always slightly open, but the angle was just wrong for us to see in. Most telling of all, he had a satellite phone. Who uses those in a place with perfect Wi-Fi? I followed him from a distance one afternoon. He walked like a man with a plan. Confident, but never hurried. When he stopped at the park, he sat on the same bench, opened the same book, and waited. That's when I saw it. Another man approached, dropped something near the trash can, and kept walking. Apartment 9 stood up 10 minutes later and retrieved it like it was nothing. I reported back to Langley. "Dead drop," he said immediately. "Classic." "So what now?" I asked. "Now we find out what he's passing." The next morning, Langley handed me the pen I'd seen earlier. "This isn't just for notes," he said. "Hidden camera. You'll leave it near the bench and walk away." It felt like a scene straight out of a spy thriller. My palms were sweating, heart racing, but I followed orders. I left the pen behind and kept walking. That night, Langley and I watched the footage. Sure enough, the man returned and retrieved another object from the same trash can. This time, it looked like a flash drive. "He's getting bolder," Langley muttered. "Who do you think he works for?" I asked. Langley frowned. "Too soon to say, but we need to find out fast." Later that week, things escalated. I was heading home when I noticed my front door was cracked open. I froze. Had I forgotten to close it, or had someone been inside? Inside, nothing looked out of place, until I checked my desk. The drawer where I kept Langley's gear was wide open. Someone had been watching me. Someone new. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak in the hallway, every whisper of wind through the window felt like a warning. Someone had been in my apartment, not to steal, but to send a message. Langley arrived at dawn. "They know," I told him. He didn't ask how. He just nodded, calm as always, and handed me a burner phone. "You're out now. It's not safe anymore." "But what about apartment 9? He looked me dead in the eyes. "We're taking care of it tonight. You've done enough." But I hadn't. Not yet. I spent the day pretending to follow Langley's advice. I packed a bag. I left my curtains open like usual, even left the hallway light on, but I wasn't leaving, not until I saw this through. Just after midnight, I crept to the roof with binoculars and watched the street below. Langley and another man were already in position, stationed in a black car across from the park bench. They weren't watching apartment 9. They were watching the drop spot. I focused my lens on the bench. 1:17 a.m. The man from apartment 9 approached. Smooth as always, he sat and waited. 10 minutes passed. Then another man appeared, this one older, carrying an umbrella despite the clear sky. He slipped something under the bench and walked off. Langley moved fast, too fast. Suddenly, there was shouting. The man from apartment 9 bolted. Langley's partner chased after him, but the guy was fast. Too fast. Within seconds, he vanished into the alleyway behind the buildings. And that's when I heard it. A click. Right behind me. I turned slowly. Apartment 9 stood there, breathing hard, holding a silenced pistol. His eyes flicked to the binoculars in my hand. "You've been helping him," he said coldly. "Did he tell you who I am?" My throat tightened. "You're the spy." He gave a crooked smile. "No, I'm the one trying to stop him." Before I could respond, Langley burst onto the roof. "No!" Apartment 9 shouted. "He's a traitor. He's the one selling intel." Langley raised his gun. "He's lying. Shoot him." But I didn't. I backed away. "You both know I've been recording everything," I said, bluffing hard. "Maybe I don't know who's telling the truth, but I know who just tried to kill me." Both men froze. In the chaos that followed, the real truth unraveled. Langley had used me to set up his own rival. Apartment 9 was CIA. Langley was an ex-intelligence gone rogue. When the authorities came, I handed over the footage I'd secretly captured. Langley was arrested. Apartment 9 disappeared. I moved out the next week, but every so often, I get postcards. No return address, just one line. "Still watching. Thanks for the assist. Guess I'll never have a normal neighbor again." But then again, I'm not that normal anymore, either.